So today we're working on by far my least favorite project. Want to see if we can finally get the motor out today. All right, so we look at the other side and it's even worse. See, we don't have the same rust issues going on there. We were able to clean up the cylinders pretty well. Just took a light hone to them. We got all our parts laid out. Finally got a work table. Unfortunately, I can't reuse the pistons. That one's not as bad. Some of these pistons were really bad. I was able to clean up a few of them. Yeah, like stuff like that. So, got new pistons. They're D&J pistons, so they're not like top of the line JE or Wiseco or anything like that. But they are the same pistons that I have in the 2J and that. I haven't broken that yet. Anyway, let's see what these look like. Yeah, see, still the same flat top piston, standard cut. Ordered rings to go with it. So one of the issues I was having was I wasn't able to get all of the rings out. And on top of some of the pistons having actual damage to them, I can't really get in there and clean the ring grooves. So, and rather than just replacing the couple of pistons that had damage and trying to reuse other pistons, I didn't want to have this mixed match of one or two new pistons and then have 6 old pistons. So I went ahead. It was cheaper really to just buy a whole new set, new rings. Like I said, we're not using top of the line stuff. I'm not trying to push crazy amounts of boost at it like the 2JZ. I'm not trying to run nitrous on it like the Cleveland. I just need the truck to stay alive a little bit longer until I'm ready to purchase another truck. So, but before we can get the pistons on, we got to finish taking the pistons off of the con rods because we're going to reuse the con rods. Those didn't seem to be too damaged at all. So we're going to go ahead and reuse them, save as much money as we can. Alright, so to get the wrist pin clamps out, since I'm not worried about saving the pistons because I'm not reusing them, I'm just going to take this small flathead screwdriver. I'm going to dig it in to this little groove right in here, if you guys can see that. And I'm going to get it in there. These things do want to spring out once they break free, so I'm just going to put my hand over it. There we go. Jumps out. You only need to take one side out, but I'm going to go ahead and take the other one out as well. You see that one? Shut up. Alright, so now that I got the clamps out, I'm just going to move over here to the toolbox. Put a little something down to brace the wrist pin, or to brace the rod. And take a 15mm socket. It's one I don't mind. If anything happens to it, I've got another set in there. I'm going to set that on there. I'm just going to take, a dead blow to it. just like that, we've got them all out. Grab the rod. No real damage to the rod. So I'm just gonna clean up that surface a little bit. We'll reuse them. So now that we got the old pistons off of the rods and our new pistons are on there, or rather we have to put our new pistons on there. So a couple of things for guys who maybe haven't done this before. Some of you guys who've been doing this professionally or just been doing it as a hobby for a really long time, you guys already know this. I'm not making up anything groundbreaking. But the pistons have a directional locator on them. So a little dot right there. That lets you know that needs to go towards the front of the engine. And it's important to make sure that these things line up the right way. For the piston, it might not seem as important, but you know, it's there for a reason. It's more so important for connecting rods because they have to sit on the journals the right way. There has to be the right amount of play in between the two rods as they oppose each other, or else you're going to get some unwanted or unwarranted friction in there and cause excessive wear. So for the factory rods, there's a little dot on them right there, and that goes towards the front of the engine, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I just know that I marked my pistons with which way, or I marked my rods with which way they were facing, which side was towards the front of the engine when I pulled them out, just because I mark everything as I pull it out. And on all of them, that little dot's there on the same side that was facing the front of the engine when I marked them, and they don't have it on the back side. So I'm gonna go off using that. So anyway, we're gonna make sure that dot and the dot on our piston are in the same direction. I've already started my wrist pin, so we're gonna put those. I gotta pick you guys up really quick so I can get to the wrist pin clamps. All right, we're back. So I got my snap rings to lock the wrist pins in. I can open them with my gloves on. Set them up there. There's a little groove inside of here that you guys probably can't see on camera, but essentially all I'm doing is I'm going to get this retainer, the snap ring, to sit inside that groove. For that, I'm going to use a set of my snap ring pliers. Which I'm not really sure are going to work for this one. So if I can't get that to work, yeah, so the pliers won't really help me on this one. Just the area to grab it isn't that big, but you guys see screwdriver, if you kind of start it first where you need it to go, you can press it by hand. And boom, it's in there. Wrist pin isn't going anywhere. And once again, our dots line up. Dot right there, dot right here. So this side of the piston is going to face the front of the engine. And now we just got to do that 7 more times. So let's feed our retainer. Drop it in there. Bam. Alright, so now we've got all of our pistons mounted onto the rods. They've all got some pretty good motion to them. Next step obviously is going to be to add the rings to them. For that, all I'm going to do is just use a set of piston ring pliers, put them on there, and then we'll go from there. So we're down to the last piston ring, or the last piston set to add. So one thing you guys may have noticed that I didn't do was I didn't do any type of gapping of the rings. To be honest, I'm not that worried about it right now. Now, this motor isn't going to be like some crazy boosted motor, or we're not trying to rev it to the moon. I'm literally just trying to keep this truck alive and get it running again, just long enough until I can till I decide to buy a new truck. I could buy a new truck now. I'm kind of enjoying not having car payments, so I'm gonna ride this wave out a little bit. But for like the Cleveland and the 2J, I definitely made sure the ring gap was on point, especially for the Cleveland, just because it's going to be running that nitrous shot. And I know nitrous is supposed to cool the engine, which would in theory minimize ring expansion. But we also know how car guys can be. We say we're going to baby it or go light on it, not use that much nitrous, not rev it that high. We only want so much power, and then we'll be good. And then that's never the case. We're always trying to reach more. We're always trying to push more power, push more nitrous, push more boost. We might rev at 7,500, and oh man, let's just push it to 800 RPM or 8,000 RPM. So, anyway, that's it. All the pistons have been put on. New rings have been put on. It's really hot here, if you guys can't see the sweat pouring down my face. So I'm gonna call it for today. I'm gonna come back out tomorrow. We'll go ahead and prep the journals, put the crank back in, put the rods back in. We'll start throwing on the oil pump, the timing, and everything. Start getting the engine reassembled, and that'll be it. So, see you in the morning.